Tuesday morning, 6:43. Your phone lights up before the alarm goes off. The screen says your bank balance just rolled past $100,000. 100,041. You stare at the number for a second. You don't feel different. The water in the kettle starts hissing. The neighbor's car door slams in the parking lot below. The number sits there. And then, 22 months later, on another Tuesday morning, the same screen will show $250,007. Between those two Tuesdays, between that number and the next, there are 47 decisions. Not 3, not 10. 47. The first one happens before you finish that cup of coffee. This is the section of the path almost no one maps. The channels in this space will show you the levels. They will say 100,000 is here, 250 is over there. They draw a line between the two and call it discipline. They are not wrong. They are also not specific. There is a sequence. There is a count. I'm going to walk you through it across 4 moments: day 1, month 3, month 11, month 22. 4 checkpoints, 47 decisions. The math behind a transition that takes most people somewhere between 18 and 36 months and feels, from the inside, like nothing is happening for the first half of it. Day 1. $100,041. Open your account right now if you have something close to this. You will see it. The number looks settled. It isn't. The decisions that move it haven't started yet. Most people, in the first week after crossing this line, do exactly one thing. They check the number. They feel slightly relieved. They check it twice a day for 2 weeks. That is decision 0, the choice to drift. It costs nothing in any single week. It costs the entire transition if it runs for 90 days. The first real decision out of the 47 is something else, and it happens on a specific Tuesday afternoon. You open the bank app. You find the auto transfer screen. The amount sitting there is $400 a month. You change it to $600. That is decision 1. There are 11 more like it, 12 automation switches, all in the first 4 to 6 weeks. Auto transfer to brokerage, increased. Auto transfer to a Roth account, set to the annual maximum divided across 24 pay periods. Auto transfer to an emergency reserve, capped at 3 months of fixed expenses, so it stops growing once the floor is established. A sweep rule from checking to a high-yield account, set to move anything above $3,000 at the end of every month. Bill auto-pay on every fixed expense. 6 bills, 6 toggles, 90 seconds each. Dividend reinvestment set to default on the brokerage. Direct deposit allocation split into the right buckets at the paycheck level, so the money never lands in checking in the first place. I have run these 12 myself, in this order. None of them is a strategy. Each is a switch. The strategy is the assembly of the switches. The competitor channels will tell you to automate your finances. They will not tell you that there are exactly 12 switches, and they each take between 90 seconds and 4 minutes. What makes day 1 feel like nothing on the inside, even though the number on the screen is the largest it has ever been? The body has not caught up to the math. Crossing 100,000 does not change how your apartment looks. It does not change the commute. It does not change what the morning coffee costs at the place near your office. The shift is invisible from the inside because the only thing that has changed is a digit position on a phone screen. And the digit position will not move again on its own. Most of the people who lose the transition lose it in the first 30 days, before any of the 12 switches are flipped, Because they confused the new number for an outcome. The new number is an input. What is the next switch you have not flipped yet? Which one have you set already? Which one have you been meaning to set since last fall? Write down the date you actually flip it. That is decision 2 through 12. 10 weeks of small actions that look like nothing and decide everything that follows. Month 3. Your balance reads $117,000 and change. About $16,000 of growth in 90 days. Roughly 11 of that is income you didn't spend. The rest is market drift in the right direction. The number on the screen looks good. The internal feeling is worse than at day 1. Here's where the mechanism kicks in. The honeymoon period of the new system is over. The 12 auto transfers are pulling more than they used to. You feel the constraint at the grocery checkout, at the dinner invite, at the fall jacket that fits but costs more than your last one did. There is a specific Tuesday in month 3 when most people in this transition increase their spending. They decide, quietly, that they earned it. That is decision 20. It is the largest single risk in the 47. The right move at decision 20 is to hold. By hold, I mean leave the auto transfer numbers unchanged for 1 more month. That is it. No virtue, no discipline as a concept, just no edit. The mistake at month 3 is not splurging once. The mistake is logging to the bank app and quietly lowering the $400 Roth transfer to $300. Nobody sees it. You don't tell anyone. It feels like a small adjustment. 6 months later, you cannot explain to yourself why the balance is at 142 instead of 168. Decision 20 barely shows on the outside. The trajectory of the next 6 months turns on it. What does decision 20 actually look like in the bank app? 3 taps. The first opens the transfer screen. The second taps the dollar amount field. The third re-enters the number. The whole thing takes under 20 seconds. The trick at month 3 is to notice that you are even on the screen. The honest version of this decision is to close the app, leave the number alone, and let the constraint do its work for 30 more days. Compare it to where you were a year ago. A year ago, $400 a month to Roth would have been impossible. Now, it is uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is the correct internal feeling at month 3. If it feels easy, you are not pulling hard enough. Hold on. The next part, month 11, is the section where most viewers usually fall off because the numbers get uncomfortable and the categories start to overlap. Like the video so you don't forget. Subscribe to stay through to month 22. That is the part the other channels skip past. Month 11. Your balance reads $176,000. Halfway between the 2 Tuesdays in calendar time, 3/4 of the way through in feeling. The math says you are 8 months from 250. The body says you are at the limit. This is the dropout point. The decisions stack here because every category demands attention at the same time. The 11 cost-control decisions cluster at month 11. The subscription audit, the grocery service downgrade, the insurance reshop, all 3 lines, auto, renters, or homeowners, and the umbrella policy if you carry one. The credit card category review for the cards you opened more than 2 years ago and have not reevaluated. The streaming consolidation, the gym contract renegotiation, the phone plan downgrade, the cable cut, if you somehow still have it. The dining out cap, set in writing as a weekly number. The car wash subscription, or the equivalent small recurring charge most people forget exists. and the recurring small purchases that add up to about $400 a month if you actually look at the statement honestly. Pull up your statement. Find that line, the one with the charge you keep meaning to cancel. That charge is one of the 11. 11 decisions, 3 weekends, most of them under 5 minutes each. The hardest part is opening the statement in the first place. How many of the 11 have you actually completed? Not started, completed. Where the recurring charge stopped, the cheaper policy was bound. The gym contract was signed off. The cable account was closed. The completed count is the only one the math cares about. The intention count does not show up on the balance. The income negotiations sit on top of the cost control layer at exactly the same window. 7 of them. The year-end performance review. The actual ask, not the meeting. The side income invoice rates, raised by the percentage you should have raised them at the last reset. The freelance retainer conversation, if you carry one. The conversation about title and band with your manager. The equity refresh request, if you are at a company where that exists. The bonus structure clarification, the math you have never made your manager walk you through. And the reimbursement audit on whatever the company actually owes you that you have not put in. 7 conversations. The most uncomfortable thing in the entire 47. This is where the dropout filter operates. Most viewers at month 11 choose comfort. 3 of the 7 conversations get postponed indefinitely. 4 of the 11 audits get deferred. The system slows. The Tuesday at 250,000 moves from month 22 to month 28. Sometimes month 32. Sometimes never. From what I have seen, in my own runs and in the people I have watched do this, the difference between the ones who hit the second Tuesday on schedule and the ones who don't isn't talent. The calendar decides it. The ones who clear month 11 made the month 11 calendar visible. They wrote the 7 conversations down with dates. They scheduled the 11 audits on 3 specific weekends. That is the entire dropout filter. Decision 28 in the 47 is the choice to write things down. Back in 2022, I was at month 11 myself, on a different starting number and a different target. I had 4 of the 7 conversations on my calendar and dodged the other 3 for the better part of a month. The balance stalled. I rescheduled. The trajectory came back. The decision wasn't the conversation. The decision was the date. Month 22. Tuesday morning, again. Your phone lights up at 6:43 again. The screen reads $250,007. The kettle hisses again. The neighbor's car door slams again. The coffee tastes the same. The window looks the same. The Tuesday looks the same. The number is different. You don't feel different. That part doesn't change. The last 9 decisions, the allocation category, happened in the previous 90 days. The rebalance brought back to target weights. The tax loss harvest, executed during the late summer or year-end window, depending on your situation. The contribution split between Roth and taxable recalculated. The cash position threshold reset to the new balance. The brokerage tier review, where the next fee bracket kicks in. The tax bracket projection for the coming year. The income shift estimation, accounting for the raises you negotiated. The next year forecast on the same operational map. And the goal bracket reset, the new floor you defend, the new ceiling you reach toward. 9 decisions, the technical end of the transition. The 8 behavioral decisions, the ones nobody outside the math noticed you were making, happened all along. They were the daily small ones. The choice to not open the food delivery app after 8 in the evening. The 14-day wait on any purchase over $200. The choice to not post the balance screenshot to anyone, ever. The choice to not respond when a coworker asks how much you have saved. The choice to not buy the new phone when the contract is up if the old one still works. The choice to not renew the gym membership for the gym you have not visited in 3 months. The choice to not lend money you don't expect back. The choice to not explain the system to anyone who didn't ask. Each of these 8 in isolation is a tiny constraint. The collective weight of them across 22 months is somewhere around $24,000 in spending that did not happen. Money that compounded inside the brokerage instead of leaving the system. None of the 8 is dramatic. None of them is a story you tell at dinner. Across the full 22 months, the behavioral category does more compound work than any of the 4 louder ones, even though none of its decisions feels like a financial move on the day it happens. 12 plus 7 plus 11 plus 9 plus 8. 47. The number is exact because the categories are exact. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, makes the point that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. The 47 decisions are the system. The 2 Tuesdays are the goals. The path between them looks like discipline from the outside and looks like nothing from the inside, because each of the 47 decisions is too small in isolation to feel like progress. The 11th cost control audit does not change your life. The 11th cost control audit, after the other 10, combined with the 7 negotiations, the 12 automations, the 9 allocations, and the 8 behavioral choices, moves your number by $150,000 in under 2 years. What I take from Clear's frame, and what I want you to take, is the unit. The unit of the wealth path is not the year, it is not the milestone, it is the individual decision. There are 47 of them in this particular transition, and the number is exact for a reason. Each one of the 5 categories has a fixed cardinality at this scale. 12 automation switches, 7 income asks, 11 cost control audits, 9 allocation moves, 8 behavioral constraints. Different starting balance, different distribution, same arithmetic. The transition from 250,000 to 500,000 has its own count. The transition from 500,000 to 1 million has its own count. The pattern repeats, the categories stay, the numbers inside the categories shift. What would the count actually be if you ran it on yourself right now, honestly, without rounding up? So here is the audit. 12 automation decisions, count yours. 7 income negotiations, count yours. 11 cost control audits, count yours. 9 allocation moves, count yours. 8 behavioral choices, count yours. The total tells you where you actually are between the 2 Tuesdays, regardless of what the balance reads today. Under 15 completed, and you are still at day 1 regardless of the number on the screen. In the 20s, and you are inside the month 11 window, the dropout window. Past 35, and the second Tuesday is closer than you think. Your phone lights up. The screen reads 100,000 and something, or 176 and something, or 240 something. Wherever it reads, the first decision waiting for you is the auto transfer screen. Tuesday afternoon, 90 seconds. Run the numbers yourself. Only the count moves the balance. Intention shows up nowhere on the line. How many of the 47 have you already made? and which one is next on the calendar this week.